Hello my friends, I'm Lucas and you're watching coldemonspl. If you like my work, please remember to click thumb up, subscribe to my channel and write some comments.
First of all, I would like to mention my wonderful patrons who support my activity. Massive thanks, guys! The people who help me the most are Bulldog09, Christopher Obarski, Dan Dubois, Dan Mike Shack and Hans Zap. But the people listed just now are also my great patrons. They all believed in my passion, saw something valuable in it and decided to support me. It's really great when you know that there are a few crazy guys in the world who think like you, want to watch what you build and appreciate the effects of your work. This is really super motivating and gives me the strength to continue working. Please don't forget that you can be one of them. That's why in each episode I encourage you to support me in my passion. And I realize it's not easy these days, but if you have a few bucks you could drop in my cup, that would be great. Thanks! Today I will focus on classic model from Tamiya, which probably every modeler dealing with German vehicles had in their hands. But for me it will be the first time I build this model. I had the opportunity to assemble a set from Italy earlier, but it was so long ago that I don't remember what came out of it. So, standard quality in the manufacturer's typical box with very well fitting parts and clear instruction. I also had wire tires from Dev model and some small details. Of course also figures from Mantis miniatures and Alternity. Building this model is so simple that I wondered whether to show it in the video at all. But I decided that there will definitely be someone who will find it helpful, especially if it's their first model and they are looking for advice on how to build it as best as possible. Therefore, in the next few moments I will show you how I put together this set. Oh, during construction there was an opportunity to replace the clamps with 3D printed ones, so I did it without thinking, especially since they look much better than the plastic blocks included in the set. I glued the glass with transparent VMS glue to show how easy it is to work with. Of course, after putting the cover on you won't be able to see anything, but if you want to leave the glass visible, this is the great solution. It leaves no traces and it's completely safe for plastic. The wheels are designed for this model, so mounting them is incredibly easy. I used Tamiya epoxy putty to create a window cover. This two-component mass is perfect for this. After rolling it out, I cut out a suitable piece and covered the glass with it. The work is not very difficult, but it's worth having some time so as not to rush it and carefully control the appearance of the element being created. I made some tarps from the leftovers and pushed them into the empty spaces on the left side. When everything was dry, I removed the wheels and tarps and drilled a hole in the floor for a wooden stick which served as a handle while painting. I did a similar thing in the wheels, preparing them for the next stages. I washed the entire model with model degreaser, thus cleaning it of any impurities creating during construction. In this way I washed off all the dust and dirt that I had applied to the model with my fingers. This time I decided to paint the model directly on the cleaned surface without using a primer. It turned out to be a good solution because several thin layers of paint did their job perfectly. It took me several minutes to apply the base color and then I could start painting the details. I started with the window cover, then painted roof, seats and other small elements that shouldn't be dark yellow. As usual, it took me more time than painting the base color, but I guess that's always the case. Never mind. When painting the wheels I used the masks provided by the manufacturer. They definitely made the job easier. I put the set of markings prepared by the producer, and yeah, I know that this registration number shouldn't be used in the winter scenery of Eastern Front, but I generally don't care. I only changed the division's emblem to an earlier variant and the matter was solved. I carefully cut some stickers with a knife to reduce the size of the thin film. Before I started applying the decals, I covered the entire model with a thin layer of glossy varnish. Standard procedure. I added some VMS liquid under the stickers, which made it easier to stick them and blend them into the paint layer. After drying, another thin layer of glossy varnish did its job and the stickers look perfect. Worn effect was necessary for the next step, which was to prepare the remains of winter camo. A mixture of white and buff was applied in small amounts to nooks and crannies, but also to random places just to gently show the winter camo. After removing the paint with water and brush, a destructive coating remained which will look perfect on the model. Especially since it's to be part of a slightly larger project and will be a contrast to the white model that is planned to be placed behind it. But this is the future, only Schwimmwagen for now. Ivory paint was perfect for mapping on the remains of white camo. On such a small model this activity goes really quickly and you just have to remember not to overdo it with the number of lighter spots. Before I started doing the wash, I added some highlights and shadows on the roof material and the cover on the windshield. Applying wash on a shiny surface is very easy and doesn't take much time, especially on such a small model as a Schwimmwagen. The most important thing is of course to apply it where it's needed, but it can also be used to create delicate dirt. I cleaned up the excess with clean thinner. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you've probably heard that I'm not a big fan of lots of scratches. Here I decided to paint them with a special paint of VMS, which is available in several colors depending on your needs. You can wash it off if something goes wrong. All you need is a universal weathering carrier and the paint disappears in a moment. I did the first dirt using pigment jockey in combination with the already mentioned universal weathering carrier. This is a great product that can be used to build subsequent layers of dirt. It's worth using an accelerator to speed up your work and see results faster. I applied it to the hull and wheels. I used alkyd binder in combination with pigment to apply dry but dark matte. Here the work is equally simple and the most important thing is to exercise moderation. The rest is your own creativity. Changing the alkyd binder from matte to wet but still staying with the same pigment, I started working on creating the wet matte and splatter. As you can see, it's just as easy and quick as with the previous effect. Now I could glue the wheels with some flexi 5K CA and move on to the next elements of the project. I prepared a few little things to equip the vehicle, which you can see on my hand. I will make tarps out of paper. While painting details is usually done with acrylic paints, I saturated the tarp with acrylic paint and PVA glue, which allows for easy shaping of the material depending on needs. As a result, I created this effect and it seems quite good considering the limited space I had. I copied the arrangement of the axe and pickaxe from the very well known photo from the Eastern Front, as well as the grenades placed on the driver's side. I applied a thin layer of matte varnish to the glued elements to unify the whole thing and reduce satin shine on some surfaces. I always say that I'm not a figure painter, so I won't bother you with my attempts at painting. I prepared the two figures I mentioned earlier, painting them entirely with acrylic paints. Before I glued the crew into the place in the vehicle, I added some fresh mud to the floor of the model. It's a small thing, but I think it's necessary to keep the whole thing looking good. The last thing was to add some pigments to the soldiers' uniforms to keep them from looking too clean. A little light and dark pigment on the helmets, knees, elbows and here and there on other parts of the uniforms was enough. Of course, I glued both figures with CA glue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's done. What do you think about this model? I think that even with a small number of additional elements, you can create an interesting model, and with the addition of figures, you can give it some life and create a little story. As I mentioned, I would like to add it to a bigger project with some other vehicles, so stay tuned for my next projects. For now, thank you for watching and don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, write some comment and consider joining to my Patreon to see more. That's all for today, see ya next time, cheers!